So this is the first amplifier build I ever did. It's in a Ghent case, like my other two builds, the videos that you've seen. These use Icepower 300 AS1 and 300A1 modules. I'll show you those modules in a moment. Now, this amplifier I obviously already put together, so this is going to be more of me popping the top and showing you where the wires go so you can build your own if you wanted to. This is the most budget-oriented build of the three videos I have on these, of the three amplifier types. This build all in, it's roughly around $300, maybe a little bit more, after you pay for shipping for the Ghent case itself. But for $300, there's not much out there that's going to beat this thing. 150 watts into 8 ohms, 300 watts into 4 ohms, and stable down to, I believe, 2.7 ohms. So if you have a particularly rough set of speakers where they have very low impedance dips, in their frequency response, this amplifier will handle it no problems whatsoever, which is kind of what I like about it. The only reason why I don't use this amplifier is because I built the two other bigger ones, and this thing just kind of sits around. It's kind of sad. It's a great little amp though, and if you want to build a 300 watt amp that will curb stomp many more expensive amps, it's not that hard to build. Pay attention. I'm going to pop the top on this thing so I can show you the inside of it and where all the wires go, and you can put this thing together pretty easily. Okay, so I took the screws here off and the two matching screws on the back off, which allows this thing to pop right off here. The case is obviously very similar to the other ones, particularly similar to the 125AX ASX2 monoblock videos I have, those two amps. This case is just, for the most part, a longer version of that. It's got the same switch assembly right here. As a matter of fact, in that monoblock build video, you actually see me popping the top of this thing off because I couldn't remember how the switch went. So yes, that switch assembly is the exact same. So if you want details about how this goes into the box, watch that video and you'll see it. It's probably the most annoying part of the build, and you'll get it. You know what I mean? It's not that hard, but it's what I'll say a mild annoyance, whereas everything else is for the most part pretty easy. To look at the inside in detail, this is the 300 AS1 Icepower board. You can get it on Parts Express. This here is a single channel board. You can build a monoblock with this if you want to. You can build two of these, and then you would have two monoblocks. I would say I've ran two of these. I had another one of these, and I ran them in monoblock mode, and it's really not much of a difference. To keep the economic nature of this kind of build, going with the 300 AS1 module here with the built-in power supply, and then there's a 300A1 board here that hangs onto it. It's a hanger board, and it works off of this power supply. It's perfectly made to do that. As a matter of fact, I definitely know this will support another 300A1 hanging off of it easily. I've heard people say you can actually hang up to 3 off of it. Not that I would ever do that, but obviously hanging one is a perfect way to go. And then, like I said, you have a 2-channel amplifier that is will basically drive almost anything you can throw at it. I built 2 bigger amplifiers that have more power, but also at the end of the day, if 300 watts per channel to 4 ohms isn't enough for you, then terrorists have won. If I had to go through this with this amp till the end of days, I'd be perfectly fine. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. This is a great little amp. And like I said, $300 all in. It's arguably the best bang for buck amp I actually own. because for $300, you would have to spend a significant amount of money to beat this. So other than, you know, these boards being different than the other builds, the theory behind it is pretty much the same. You have the speaker binding posts that you put in through the pre-drilled back panels on the Ghent cases. You solder the wires into it, and then you have your XLR inputs here. So I'm going to show you in detail where the wires go. You know, on the back, you know, it's got the two XLRs. I assembled these wrong, as you can see. You know, I have this was the first build I did. You can see that the plate is on the outside. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be on the inside. It goes through, and then you drill it from outside. But doing it this way is fine too. I mean, it works perfectly fine. This was the build where I learned that that having those push buttons on the top, between that and the binding posts, when you have big giant sausage fingers like me, is a mild annoyance, which is why on the 125 ASX2 build, you see that I mounted them upside down so the silver buttons would be on the bottom. So, you know, you pop that power port into the hole, and again, you'll see the hole. It's not that hard. And you put the two screws in. Power cables are very similar to the 125 ASX. You have your black ground that goes here. You have your red that goes to the positive, and then you have your ground. Or I'm sorry, the black is the negative. The red's the positive, and then this is the ground cable, and you'll see it labeled as such on the back of this if you look at it really close. That gets screwed into the bottom of the board, same as the other builds. Nothing really special. And then the power cable goes from here and hooks up into the switch. You even see the red and the black wires on the board to show you how it goes. You almost can't, you can't miss. It goes right in here, and then you mount, you know, obviously you mount the switch. And I wish I could show you in this video, but go to my 125 ASX2 build, and you'll see how this switch goes in. It's the exact same way. And then there's another cable that goes here. I have it tucked all the way down here. It goes across, and then that plugs into here, into the board to power the board itself. So the power goes into here. The switch allows you to obviously turn the amp on and off, and then this is the power. Once it's switched, that actually goes into the board, and this powers the board and this power supply. And then you have this little cable here that goes over here, and that goes into this. That is basically just kind of powers the little LED light. I don't know, maybe it does something else, I really don't know, but that's where that goes. So then you have your power here, and then this, to see where the power flows, this is where you hook this smaller blue wire here. It only goes in one way, so don't worry about not knowing what's positive and negative. It only connects one way. This is the power output where you put your hanger boards, and then the power goes from here into the power input in here, and that powers this entire board, right? So this is one channel here. It just happens to have the power supply on it, and then this one is the amp for the other channel that uses the power supply here. So the power supply is integrated into this board, the 300 AS1 board, and then your 300A1 board is the hanger board that needs to be hooked up to a power supply, and that's what this cable does. And then you have your all of your signal cabling, which for one channel is here. So this, I gotta actually remember. Oh, that's right. I remember how this goes. So quite similarly, you'll see this cable that comes, and you wonder what the heck is going on with it. It looks weird. This cable here gets plugged into here. Again, it's only one way the stuff can be mounted. And then this is your signal cabling for this. And then let me follow this. And then this is the signal cabling for this. So this comes out of this board, and this signal cable goes into here. And then this this part cabling here is what connects this to this. Can't remember why that is though. I'll remember that in a second. But again, I'm just laying this out so you know you get the wires. And when you order the Ghent case, it comes with all the wires. I'm showing you this so you know where the wires go. And these are easy. These are the speaker cables. Obviously, you know, here's board number one. This is the speaker output to that board here. That goes into one channel. It doesn't matter which one it is. You can make this any one you want. This could be, but this is one channel. This is the other channel. But you gotta just make sure the signal cables go to the same side, right? So this is a signal cable that's going from here into here. And obviously, if you got it going into that channel, you want the speaker cable going out to the same one. So you got to keep those aligned, right? So you have your signal cable here that goes around here into this board, and then I have the speaker cables also going into this board. You don't want to reverse them. That would be weird, and there would literally be no reason to do that. And then again, there is this. Oh, I think I know what it is. It keeps the power draw aligned or something. I can't remember what this cable does. I'll be perfectly honest with you, but that is where it goes. It goes from this. It comes, this whole thing comes in one cable. Like this is all attached into one thing when you get it in the package. So when you plug it into this, you know, the black cable here goes to the signal, the three little wires that go into the XLR. And if you see the in the other build videos, I do have, you know, the charts of what wire goes into number one, what goes into number two, and what goes into number three. I might attach it to this too. Depends if I still have that picture somewhere. And then obviously, again, on the same side, you have the signal cabling. That's just its own standalone. Let me see, get a bit, there it is. See the three wires there, goes into that, and then that goes into your other channel. And again, just keep the speaker cables on the same sides as your signal cables, because obviously if you have the signal cable going to this, you want it to come out of the speaker. Like it would just be, you know, obviously easier. So other than that, you know, you mount these things to the board, this to the case with the screws and the spacers, the same way it is on the you know, same theory that you see on the other builds. So that's not that much different, and just make sure it's mounted securely to the board. This one I have 1, 2, of that screw there is the third one in the middle, 4 and 5. So those 5 screws are right, mount this board, and then there's 4 screws, obviously, that mount this one to the board over here. You know, get a good visual look at it so you know kind of how it lines up. You know, use this as a guide when you get the parts. So again, Ghent, you go to ghentaudio.com to get the case, which comes with the wiring. You can choose to get the solder kit or the solderless kit. I've gone both ways. If you know how to solder, get the solder kit. If you've never soldered before in your entire life and soldering terrifies you, then yeah, sure, get the solderless kit. Wiring up the XLR signal cables with the solderless kit, believe it or not, is actually mildly more annoying than doing it with the solder kit. And again, that is the case only because I actually know how to solder. Since I know how to solder, actually soldering the signal cables was a lot, not a lot easier. It was a little bit less annoying than fiddling with the wire and doubling it up, folding it, and getting it in. So I felt comfortable enough that screws would grab onto it enough, so I wouldn't have to worry about it. And then that, for the most part, is it. These are good boards. And reasonably priced. Last I checked on Parts Express, and I'll put pictures of it up on this video, but I believe this is $149, and this is something like $70 or $80. So that's, you know, that's $220 there, and then the case is like $80, and then it's like $20 in shipping. So and you're talking $320 all in, and you know, and then the cheapest amplifier that you can buy with these that are based on these boards that are pre-assembled is the XTZ Edge AS300, which is roughly it's been on sale lately, actually. If you don't feel like building an amplifier, that's the one to get. It's around $479. I actually use that amplifier in my 2-channel rig downstairs because it has auto on feature, and because that stereo downstairs is hooked up to the TV. It's got to be very easy to use for the wifey, and my wifey just wants to sit down, turn the TV on, have everything work. And that's the only reason why I have that XTZ Edge. I don't know how to get the auto on for this to work. There's a rumor that says there's a way that it works. I just don't know how. I'm not that technically savvy. So that is the only reason why I don't use this amp in the downstairs rig. I would have to just leave it on all the time. And people do that. It's a Class D amp. It doesn't draw that much power at idle. But I think it only draws like 20. It's like having a 25 watt bulb on, even at idle. I just don't like to do that unless I have to. You know, the other one, it's the same amplifier modules, pretty much sounds the same, which is great. It sounds fantastic, and it's got the auto on, which is a beautiful feature, and that just works better down there. So that's why this amplifier has just been kind of sitting dormant, not doing anything, much to my chagrin, because it's a great amp. So if you want a great amp, you don't want to spend a lot of cheddar. This is and you want to put together a little project. This is a great way to go. I initially didn't do a video on this, because I built it before I did the videos. Secondly, I didn't think I should do a video because I looked at other videos to assemble this, but then I remembered the other videos that I based this off of actually use slightly different boards from Icepower. They're the same size and the wiring is very similar, which is why I used it as a model, but they actually use the Icepower 200 ASC and then 200, I think it's the 200A1 board. Very similar layout, just less powerful. It's like 100 watts per channel into 8 and 200 watts into 4, and I wanted more power, so I used these, but there's some videos about putting that other amplifier together, and I kind of use that as a model, whereas this is the actual better amp to build for virtually the same amount of money. I think if you buy the lower powered boards, they're a tiny bit cheaper, but for all the effort and the same price it's the same exact case that you would use for both builds. So for the $35 difference, like there is no reason not to build this more powerful one than the other one, since these boards are out and on partsexpress.com and readily available. So I hope that helps you. Again, great little project, very budget minded. You know what I mean? Any one of these builds is a powerful bang for buck, no matter how you slice it across the board. But whereas building the two 125 ASX2 monoblocks was the better part of 600, and the 1200 AS2 build, as beefy as that thing is, that was around $600. This thing you could put together for $300, and honestly, unless you have just an absurdly difficult set of speakers to drive, this thing will get the job done for you plenty, and with plenty of volume and headroom and great sound to spare. So great little project. If you want to get into this is how I got into building my own amplifiers. This is a great little way to start. So there you go.